Thank you for tuning in to the Austin All Day Podcast. I'm Jason Powers, and here with us today is Chef Giuseppe DeStefano. Go follow the podcast on Instagram, support the podcast on Patreon, sit back, grab a drink, and check it out.
I just had a death, and my grandfather passed away last Tuesday.
Oh no.
He's the original, he's the legend, the Italian. He's the GOAT. So
Wow.
I kind of wanted to just
Pay
maybe
some homage to him.
Yeah, man, just maybe do a little.
Did you say that was last
Tuesday?
Did you already have the funeral?
We haven't. So he decided no funeral. He wanted he didn't want us to spend any money on a funeral, and he wanted to be cremated, and that was it.
Now, what was his name?
Severio. That's my middle name.
So man, that's close to home, huh?
Yeah. So we that just happened. So my dad decided he didn't even go to New York. He said, you know what? He said, I FaceTimed him. We talked before he died, and I don't think there's a need for me to go up there. He didn't want me to go up there. He wanted me to stay here at the truck and continue working. And
so what? Your grandfather, did he come from Italy?
Yeah, my dad came from Italy.
Your dad did too.
Yeah. They came in 71.
71.
Yeah,
so he must have known a struggle.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Which lends to this.
Yeah.
Don't even no funeral.
Yeah, no, nothing.
Okay.
He wanted nothing. That was him. So
what did he teach you?
Well, so I man, when growing up, my grandmother was the one that really cooked and stuff.
Okay.
And it wasn't until my grandmother passed away 5 years ago that I actually ate my grandfather's food for the first time, and it was phenomenal.
Oh yeah.
Dude made blood sausage. We're like, where did this come from? He's just man, a hardworking guy. He never stopped.
Yeah.
He built tunnels, Germany and Switzerland, and then they came to the U.S. and he just did construction, and he's just a hardworking Italian. Put that hardworking, into us and to my dad. That's probably a lot of why my dad is the way he is today. I mean, he just works.
And your father, he is a chef.
Yeah.
And how long has he been a chef?
So he's been a chef since he was 18. So in the Bronx, New York. Is that
something he picked up from your grandmother?
Some of it was, yeah. So some of it was he started as a dishwasher in the Bronx.
When he was 18?
Yeah, when he was 18.
Okay.
And then he worked at a fruit stand when he was 13 in the Bronx and started washing dishes after that, and then ended up being a chef and moved to Dallas after that. So,
and you came about in Dallas, or were you born in New York?
No, I was born in Dallas.
Born in Dallas.
Yeah, so they came, my dad came in 83, and then we came, and then I was born in 85.
Okay.
He worked at a restaurant where my uncle opened. My mom was a waitress, and there you go.
Yeah.
So
the rest is history.
Yeah.
So did you always want to be a chef watching your dad do this?
It was the complete opposite.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
A little rebellious attitude towards it?
I watched him
work all the time.
Yeah, it's absolutely. I mean, I watched him at his restaurant growing up, and it was just like the dude works, 6.5 days a week, 14 hours a day. So I came out of high school and I was like, man, I'm going to be a tattoo artist. Okay. I'm going to be a tattoo artist. I'm going to own a little shop. Had a buddy that had a shop. He was teaching me how to tattoo, and that was it. It wasn't until, they moved to San Antonio, and I stayed in Dallas, and they opened another little restaurant there. And I ended up moving to San Antonio. He kind of said, hey, do you want to work with us? Whatever. And then
extra cash.
Yeah, he fell off a ladder 2 weeks before we were open and broke his leg.
Wow.
Was in a wheelchair.
I lost a grandfather like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. No, so that can be very serious.
Yeah, my dad, it was a 12-foot ladder. He was standing on top of it, fell.
Working on the roof or something?
Changing a light bulb in a brand new restaurant that hadn't opened yet.
Such a bummer.
He missed the table, fell on his leg, broke it, had emergency surgery. We sat in the hospital room, said, what are we going to do about opening? We didn't have a chef. I said, well, I think I can pick it up. Let's try it.
Right. Well,
So
the restaurant's Italian themed.
yeah.
Always.
Yeah. So, I mean, huge menu as always. And we went in there, we opened, and
that's your start.
that's literally how I started in the restaurant. Yeah.
It started as sort of I guess I'll fill the space
Yeah.
because your dad had fallen.
Yeah. It was just,
That's
it was
nuts.
just, let's do this.
Yeah.
And then we had that restaurant for multiple years, and I was a sous chef, and I loved it. So
there you go. So it's in the blood, right?
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And your grandfather, while your grandmother was cooking, where did this come? How did he have the chops to like make all this the food?
I don't know, man.
Just lurking in the background.
Yeah, I guess. We were joking because my dad had never eaten his food.
Wow.
And then it was like, my grandmother wasn't there, and he said, hey, we made you guys some food, and we were like, where did this come from?
Yeah.
We're like, okay, here we go. There it is.
I guess maybe if you're around someone who can cook, like his wife, his whole life, just kind of maybe picked it up.
Yeah, and they were so old school. I mean, from the old country. My grandfather up until last week, he was making his own wine. White wine, red wine. My grandmother, until she passed away, she was making. She'd pick her own eggplant, tomatoes from the yard. I mean, she'd make summer sauce. She'd make all the sauce for the year, keep it in the basement. I mean, it was just old country, old school, Italian.
When these guys are your grandparents making wine, are they actually purchasing wine too, or are they literally just make their wine?
No, he was making his own wine. I mean, just straight up.
And how was it?
As fantastic.
That is
fantastic.
Excellent. Do you have some bottles left? No,
we don't. In New York, my uncle does. So we'd always joke around with it because when we would come to town, he'd be pouring bottles of wine. There's an Italian soda that they would mix with it, and so we would be doing that. And then my uncle would say, when everybody's not here, you charge me $20 a bottle, and
Right.
he'd just say, yeah, whatever, and that was it. He always had always had wine going for the next year.
Very cool.
Yeah,
Very cool.
yeah.
So you're over at Gino Vinos.
I am, yeah. I'm the executive chef for both restaurants, 51st Street and the one on Old Settlers in Round Rock.
And we've talked a little bit about you've kind of done some revamping of the menu for lunch.
Yeah, we have a new lunch menu. We're doing, in Round Rock we wanted to kind of be a little different than any other Italian restaurant at least, and we also wanted to be a little different from 51st Street, being, we're more neighborhood there.
Right.
We wanted to do, we put 6 sandwiches. We have an amazing steak sandwich. Terrace Major's, steak sandwich with homestyle fries with, a bunch of herbs. And then we did 6 salads. Gino's pretty old school. He comes from, 1970s, Detroit, Italian. His aunt and uncle had a restaurant. So it's very like, every dish, at least the salads are real big dishes in wooden bowls.
Okay.
Just kind of old school, delicious, fresh. So we changed it up like that just recently in the last 4 weeks. And then for our dinner menu, we kept a lot of stuff on there. It's huge. Dinner menu is I think we're about 60 plates on there right now.
Wow.
So it's a big menu.
Yeah.
We just added burratas on the appetizers.
And your kitchen layout's it's pretty small, right?
Yeah, it's a tiny kitchen.
To be cranking out that kind of food. And you guys are doing most everything there from scratch.
Yeah, right now we're probably about 95% in-house. I mean, we're fresh mozzarella. I make all the sausage myself. All the bread is baked every day.
Thank you for bringing some bread.
Yeah, no problem at all. Yeah, but we everything's made in-house. We make all the pasta. We have a Nero black pasta, of course. Up until this last weekend, my beautiful fiance was making all of our pasta, raviolis and tortellinis, but she's 7.5 months pregnant, so we're done with that. She's taking a little break.
Yeah.
So
I know you had the little one in there helping too.
Yeah. He was baking bread with me one day. So
How's your son? How's he like you're a chef?
he's good, man. He loves, we catch him. He's 3, about to be 4.
Oh, he's real young.
Yeah, so November 3rd he'll be 4, and we catch him watching like kids instructional baking videos.
Yeah.
And just like I'm thinking in my head, like, man, he's gonna be the next great baker or something. So he likes it. He comes up there and he kind of hangs out every once in a while. We skipped school one day and pre-K, and he just hung out with us all day while we made pasta and bread, and he enjoyed it.
Oh, I'm sure he loved it. That hands-on kind of getting dirty with some flour.
Oh yeah. He was rolling French bread, and it's like, okay, I see you.
Right.
All right, good job.
So the wife is 7.5 months. So you got another one coming.
Yeah. So we have a little baby girl coming. So she'll be Mila Antonia, who is my grandmother.
Okay.
DeStefano. So
Right.
she's gonna have the Italian name, of course.
Is your wife also Italian?
She's a small part Italian and then Irish Scottish.
Okay.
So we got, she's got some fire to her.
Right. Yeah. She'll do well with your grandfather's wine.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So how's she do with you being a chef and everything?
Man, it's one of those things. We moved to Austin, a lot for quality of life.
Sure.
We came from.
Did you get it?
So, yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
We had, I was at Buddy V's. So Buddy Velasco, the cake boss.
Yeah.
I was at his restaurant in San Antonio, and he put on a pretty good restaurant. They started changing some product on us, and I wasn't 100% happy with it.
How many locations?
So they closed the one in San Antonio after I left, actually, 3 months after I left. So he's got one in McAllen, one in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, and one in Vegas.
Okay.
So he's got the 3.
Did you foresee that being 3 months out? And
I kind of saw it come in. It was a lot of
the changes started happening.
Yeah, the changes were were really subtle. We went from this beautiful focaccia bread to, hey, we're going to try a bunch of bread that's going to come in tomorrow, and
ooh, yeah,
whatever they wanted to do, it's okay. They have a pretty good brand, and Carlos Bakery is fantastic, and Buddy Velasco has done very, very good for him and his family, and
right,
more power to him. I just wasn't really my thing. I like making everything in house, and
sure,
it is what it is. So we had some friends who I had worked for in the past. Molly had worked for them also, who bought all the Mr. Gaddies in Austin, all 13 of them, everything except for South Park Meadows. And they called me up one day and said, hey, we have this restaurant on William Cannon, and it's not doing so hot. We just bought it. It's understaffed. It's our busiest location. How about you guys move up here, help us out, and then go do what you want to do after that.
Okay.
So we said,
Gaddies.
So we said, let's do it. Why not? I said, I'll make some $7.99 buffets for a while. And so we did it. We moved to Austin. Molly worked there with me, and we staffed the restaurant. It took about 5 months. Staffed it. We worked so hard in that restaurant. I mean, it's 30 years old, and it's just $7.99 buffets, and you get destroyed all day long.
Right.
And I mean,
it's a popular spot.
And they're doing a really good job revamping the Gaddies brand, because I think at one point in time, Gaddies was huge, especially in Austin. And, I think over time it kind of dwindled a little bit, but it's, they're doing a great job, and they're great operators. They ran lots and lots of restaurants, so they'll be perfectly fine. But when I decided that we were done with Gaddies, I think everything we could do was done, and we were good on sales, and we were staffed. I said, well, let's move on. So let me test the waters, throw a couple resumes out there. And, Gino called me the next day. And he said, hey, this is Gino from Gino's Vino Osteria. I'm looking for a chef. Your name's Giuseppe. Where are you from? And I said, well, my dad grew up in Calabria. We're Calabrese, from the Bronx. And he said, well, I'm Calabrese from Detroit. We have to have lunch. And I said, all right, let's go. So the next day we had lunch. And, Gino's a great guy. He's very passionate about food, about drinks. We have an extensive wine menu, man. I mean, it's like 250 bottles in there of wine.
Okay.
Stuff from everywhere. I mean,
Any kind of program when the people come in, they sign up for with that?
no. And then we have a big wine list.
Nice.
I mean, it's incredible. He's got wines from South Africa, Italy. I mean, just everywhere. I mean, it's crazy. And he's got his own creations, his signature cocktails, and
All right.
so he's just very passionate. We talked about food a lot, and I said, okay, well, he's like, there's a couple things that I want to get done in here. I want to make my own sausage, and it's cool. Let's do it.
Yeah.
He said, we just started baking bread. I kind of want to work on it. So cool, let's do it. So between the two of us, we get along very well. And, we work.
Where did two fellas like you go out for lunch?
We went to Ginos.
Oh, you went to
I met
Ginos.
him at Ginos on
Okay.
51st Street. And
All right.
he wanted to show me some raviolis that they were making there. And, we're doing a crab meat, seafood ravioli, lobster in it. And it's absolutely delicious. So we wanted to do that. And, my wife came with us and we did that. So
he thought it was a good fit, obviously.
yeah. We, Gino kind of leaves me, he lets me be, he'll have his moments like any other owner, and, but for the most part, man, he lets me do my thing. He gives me suggestions. Hey, I was thinking about, our new thing is we have a ground round right now.
Right.
Yeah. So he asked me for 3 weeks, and he'll probably laugh at this.
Yeah.
Yeah. For 3 weeks, he asked me to make a burger for him, and I kept saying, man, I'm working on a new recipe, for this, I'm doing that. And I'm thinking in my head, like, man, I'm going to make a freaking burger, and finally I made the buns one day and I said, here are the buns. And he said, we're halfway there. Thank God. When are we going to get the burger? And I said, I'm going to make the burger tomorrow. So I made it. We did a terrace major, ground up some pancetta. And so we're doing a terrace major pancetta ground round, homemade buns.
Nice.
Yeah, so something new we're putting out there right now. But
And he's a stamp of approval from Gino.
it was very, very much stamp of approval. He loves the ground round.
Especially after 3 week wait, right?
Yeah, he let me
the
know multiple
anticipation.
times. He waited the 3 weeks.
Oh,
So-
sure. Well, when you get an itch for a burger, especially, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Gotta itch it.
Absolutely.
Well, that's good. So, is that on the menu?
So that's kind of like
Is that the secret menu?
that's kind of the secret menu right now. So we've
Okay.
been talking about it to people a lot. Literally, it's just been this, I guess, last week. Within the last 7 days, we've had the burger.
Okay.
So
Nice.
yeah, it's something different. It's delicious. That pancetta, when it melts into it, it's fantastic.
Yeah,
So,
it sounds good. You guys have right next to you in the Round Rock is that Greenhouse Craft Foods,
it is. Yeah. It's the same shopping center.
and that's a popular joint. I think adding the lunch with some sandwiches on there and that burger possibly, could draw in some.
That's what we're thinking.
Oh,
We
yeah.
just we put together some tables for the patio today.
Okay.
So we're gonna get a little patio out there right now, and just change it up a little bit.
Yeah.
We're still a new restaurant out there. We've only been there for 6 months, so
6 months in Round Rock, and
4 years at 51st Street. Yeah,
did you start originally at 54?
I did. Yeah. So there was another chef at Round Rock that opened that restaurant, and then I came in to be the chef at 51st Street, and then he left. Man, it was probably 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks into me being at 51st Street.
Okay.
And Gino came by and said, well, we're going to have to do something. And I
Yeah.
said, well, how big's the kitchen over there? Because 51st Street has a pretty small kitchen. And we're making sausage. And my wife and I are side by side. She's making pasta. I'm making sausage. We've got like a 4-foot prep table. And he said, well, it's a lot bigger. And I said, cool, let's do it. Yeah, it's a drive, but let's do it. Who cares?
Sure.
So,
now, with the freedom to kind of do what you want to do with the menu, and, we started this conversation talking about your grandfather. Is there anything for the brief time he was cooking that you might just like add on your menu or?
yeah, I mean, everything I do as a chef and my style of cooking is very influenced from my heritage. So I'm half, my dad grew up in Italy. My mom she lived in Mexico and then came to the United States. it was in New Jersey and Chicago, and I'm lucky enough to have my grandmother on my mom's side live in New Braunfels. So we used to live next door to her. So I have the best of both worlds when it comes to my heritage.
Yeah.
And with my father, a lot of my style of cooking has come from him because that's really what I know. And that guy knows more stuff. He's forgotten more stuff than I know. It's one of those things that we're just, we used to sit around. We had a restaurant called Gianni's. We would sit there and, it'd be like 3:00 in the afternoon on a Friday. We're talking about specials, and I'd do a special, he'd do a special, and he'd just be like, oh man, in 1981 at a restaurant in New York called Joe and Joe's, I did a shrimp Anthony. It was shrimp, stuffed with prosciutto, fresh mozzarella, dipped in egg with the white wine lemon butter. I'm like, where did that come from?
Right. You're like 1981.
Yeah,
what?
like I wasn't even thought of yet,
Sure, yeah.
And
all the experiences, right?
Yeah. And with my dad, like my dad is, he's the greatest chef I've ever known. He truly is. The guy came from Italy. They came from Italy. They didn't speak any English. They didn't, they came to New York, which is, they grew up in a farm in Calabria. It's like they came to the United States. You talk about culture shock.
Oh, yeah.
Started washing dishes, and became a chef. And this guy is just, he's the hardest working.
True hustler.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Well, let's bring your dad into this a little bit because he's working right here in Austin.
Yeah, so he was the chef at the grill in Leon Springs. So if you know who the Romano Macaroni Grill. So Romano, that was his first restaurant. Had been there for like 40 years. It flooded. These guys bought it, turned it into the grill in Leon Springs.
Okay.
European restaurant, really amazing restaurant. They just won Best Fine Dining in San Antonio 2 months ago.
Beautiful.
Just fantastic. Everything there is amazing. It's all true European. It's everything from stroganoff to paella to, just, Italian food. It's everything.
Yeah.
Huge menu also. Old school, huge menu. But so we were sitting around talking. My brother and my brother's a chef also. He's 26. So we've been wanting to do something together for a long time. And the goal of coming to Austin.
You and your brother or the whole family?
So we wanted, so me and my brother first started talking about doing something.
Right.
Opening a restaurant. We looked at some spots around Austin. I was still in San Antonio, so it was kind of a pipe dream. We started looking at more spots. We were looking downtown. The old Tacos and Tequila spot was open. We really liked it. But when you got $17,000 a month in rent and, you don't have a huge financial background, that's not gonna cut it.
Yeah. It's not cheap.
Yeah, no, not at all. So we decided, we were sitting around with our dad one day and I said, hey, how would you feel about working out of a food truck? And he was like, oh, I don't know, man. Like, I said, well, why not? I said, why not do everything that we want to do and put it into a small menu and just make it super accessible to everybody and let's just try it. So we had a friend of ours who owns Smoke and Joe's Trailers right outside Cibolo in Marion. Called him up. We went over there. I looked at some trailers, and he just said, man, I can build a trailer in 14 weeks from you from the ground up. And he said, and we can build it however you want. I said, let's do it. Yeah. So we got it done.
Yeah, definitely. Let's do
it. And we knocked it out. We
friends and family discount there.
Yeah, kinda. Kyle's a great guy.
The custom aspect.
He anything I asked him. So I told him, I said, listen, man, I want to put a big window in this thing, so when people order food,
they can watch.
They can watch us make fresh pasta.
Yeah.
And he was like, cool. We'll put a big window in there. It's an 8-foot window, and we did it. So we built it exactly the way we wanted it. We wrote the menu together, 3 of us. We have everything from, so we have a cicchetti menu. So people don't know what cicchetti is, but it's like Italian tapas, so small plates.
All right.
That was the original business plan for what we wanted to open a restaurant with.
Is it morphed a little bit?
Yeah. For the food truck, it has a little bit. Yeah. But, for the cicchettis, we're doing, like arancinis. We're doing, like meatball appetizer, risotto. We have a risotto of the day. We change it up every single day.
Awesome.
Sort
of like a soup of the day, but
yeah, just
much better.
everyone likes rice. I mean, risotto is, an amazing thing. It's fresh. It's delicious, and it's something pretty traditional. So what we wanted to do with this truck was kind of mend all of our cooking styles together. So my dad's super old school. I'm kind of in between both my brother and my dad. I have a lot of influence from him, but I also, I like to change it up a lot.
Yeah.
So we're doing stuff like pulled pork raviolis.
What would you say about your brother? What's his style?
My brother's, he's very new school when it comes to his style.
Okay.
His style of
Pulled
cooking is
pork
very,
ravioli.
yeah. So we kind
Totally.
of put everything together, and so we did pulled pork raviolis and sage brown butter sauce.
All right.
We're doing, just spinach raviolis. I mean, just spaghetti meatballs, tagliatelle vodka. We're using Tito's for it. Just a small menu, which apparently keeps growing every week or so. We keep adding something on there.
That big 6-0, huh?
Oh yeah, yeah. So we, it just keeps morphing a little bit. We keep talking about. It's like, okay, well, my dad wanted to do an eggplant parmesan, and we said that's cool, man. I said, well, let's think out the box a little bit. We're in a food truck, like why not? Let's try something different. I said, how can we change a eggplant parmesan, so we can do an eggplant rollatini, we'll mix some fresh ricotta. We make ricotta in the truck. We'll take some ricotta, some herbs, we'll roll it up, bake it like that. I said, what if we did an eggplant parmesan ravioli? So we grill the ravioli, put in some ricotta, some herbs, and then, and we'll throw it in the ravioli, we'll bread it and we'll bake it. Why not? Something different, So there's no limit to this thing.
So you guys are, it's a creative playground.
Yeah, we're just, my dad had he had the craziest eyes at me when I said it,
Yeah. Did he go with you?
Yeah. I mean, he's
With some resistance? A little bit?
Yeah. I mean, we've just, there's some things that, I think I mentioned a shrimp scampi ravioli the other day, and they were just like, I was like, why not? Right. Why not? The problem is that we're making everything, everything's in-house, from our fresh mozzarella. I mean, we're making sausage,
Can't
and
go
it's
too crazy with
it's an 18-foot trailer when it comes down to it, so, but we're
which
managing.
is still a good size.
Yeah, it's not bad. We started with a 14-foot trailer. That was the original plan, and as we were putting more things into it, it was like, no, man, this ain't gonna work. So we kept it growing. And
do we mention the name of the trailer?
So the name of the trailer is Il Saporis. So it's the flavor. So it's over on Live Oak and South First,
Right.
at the South First Food Court. So it's got that food court, man. We've never, we're new to this game. We've just been in restaurants. So when we were looking for a spot, we wanted somewhere accessible to everybody, and somewhere that had some neighborhoods, and also a pretty popular park. We happened to find Manoli's ice cream, and they're fantastic.
And it's a good.
We pair fantastic with them. Manuel's the owner there, and he treats us fantastic. And Dan, the owner of the park. I mean, I pulled up there yesterday, and he was mowing the grass. Like. It's all family, and that's the way we are. I mean, we just had my grandma's birthday. We're eating cupcakes outside the truck at 102-degree weather, a couple weeks ago. It was
Well, it could have been last week here, right?
Yeah,
September.
Yeah. So, but yeah, we really enjoyed it. And the truck, the truck's growing a lot.
That's good. That's
a lot
good.
of third-party delivery, and we're starting to get our name out there a little bit. So we like it.
Very cool. Very cool. So how long did the process take to get the truck up? And he said 14 weeks. Was it 14 weeks?
Yeah, it was right there.
That's I guess the easy part, because they're doing that work. Then you have to get all the.
It was I was blessed. I'll say that. So Tony, my brother, he got the unfortunate task of doing. He did the grunt work on this because they picked up the trailer from Marion. They brought it to his house, spent the night over there. They brought the trailer to get inspected at about 3 a.m. hook everything up, for the health department can, check all the fridges and everything. Then go through all of that. I mean, he was at the city like 10 different times.
So he did it all.
he got the unfortunate, that was his task.
The short end of the stick.
Yeah,
right?
that's for being the little brother. So he got that part of it. We designed it together, and just me. I'm living a weird life right now where I'm balancing, Ginos with my own business.
Yeah.
With about to have a baby November 29th. So it's like
at least you've had a child. So you sort of know what to expect.
Yeah. Well, it's stepchild. So
okay.
So I wasn't there for the first year. So
okay.
I'm a little scared, but it is what it is. So
I had a similar setup. It's a game changer.
Yeah. We're figuring that. We're getting closer and closer. So
sure. Very close.
Yeah.
So are you able to take any time to yourself once she's born, or?
Yeah, I'm gonna take a little time. I mean,
Yeah.
we're lucky that we have a lot of support and help. With both of our set of families live in New Braunfels. Her parents just moved from San Antonio to New Braunfels, so
the families get along well.
Yeah, everybody's good. So we're all pretty close. I mean, we live in South Austin, so we're only 30 minutes from New Braunfels.
So you reside in South Austin.
Yeah. We live in South Austin, and we make that, or at least I make that nice trip to Round Rock every day.
That's what I was going to ask. What is your commute usually like?
So,
what time of day? I guess
in the morning.
Like 8 a.m.
No, not that early. So we're more. I get there at 10 every day.
So you leave in about an hour.
Yeah, it's about an hour, somewhere around there. It's a little more this morning, but it happens.
Do you still frequent 51st, or you spend most of the time at Round Rock now?
Most of the time at Round Rock. I do. We wanted to make sure that both the restaurants were on the same page with everything.
Yep.
One of the things that I kind of brought to the table was there's some things with raviolis and just traditional pasta making that I did a little differently, like just eggless pasta. It's a little more traditional Southern Italian. So I kind of brought that to the table with me. So we changed some things when I got to Round Rock, just to make sure that we were on the same page with both restaurants. We had them come, that staff come up to Round Rock for a day. We made a bunch of stuff together, just kind of, went over recipes and, just make sure that you're not going to 51st Street and you're like
totally different.
Yeah, you're like, what is this? Like I was in Round Rock, or vice versa. So
we've touched on consistency. It's a big thing.
Absolutely.
I mean,
absolutely.
And with 2 locations, that's great, right?
Yeah, and so one of the things like with the truck, with my dad and my brother, I mean, they're the two that are really, they're working their butts off. Those guys are, I mean, they're there. My brother, I don't think we're 5 weeks into the food truck, and I don't think he's had a day off since. And he's just living in this thing right now. Yeah. And
he was going to join us, right?
He was, yeah. And we put an ad out in the neighborhood bulletin for right there on South First. I guess it came out on Monday. He was actually we have one employee who is a friend of ours. It's my brother's best friend and roommate, and he's working with them in the truck. And it was just the two of them, and they just had a killer day. And it was like, we're looking at numbers going, how did this happen? Like, wait a second, this is the busiest Monday we've ever had. And he said, well, I think the ad came out, and he sent us a text message with it. And I said, well, there it is. I said, awesome. So we're gonna have a busy week. So he couldn't make it out today. And
well, that's great. And it's I know a couple people. Italian. There's some places here that people like. That they've brought up. I'll ask you. Have you been around to eat? No,
man, just a little bit, but not much.
Not much, but there's some people who really like Italian here. Some people who've been on the podcast. Chef Paul Patrizzi. He needs to go over.
So ironically, we actually ran into him.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So before we opened the trailer, It was the week before. We were at Restaurant Depot.
Okay.
And ran into him.
Do you know him from?
No. So we were looking at pasta pots. We were buying stuff for the truck. And he said, hey, man, that's a really good one. We started talking. Him and my dad started talking in Italian. And he was super nice to us. Said, if you guys ever need anything, anything you guys ever need. He's like, if you need equipment, I have equipment everywhere. He's like, just call me. Here's my number. Yeah. He was fantastic. And it was really cool because some restaurant owners aren't like that. I guess the food truck game's kind of, there's not a whole lot of Italian food trucks, at least.
Yeah.
So yeah, he was fantastic. There was a lot of respect there.
Well, very cool. Very cool. So that's good that the ad went up then.
Yeah. So the ad went up.
Instagram for that?
We do have an Instagram, so it's at Saporis ATX.
Spell the Saporis?
SAPORIS.
Okay.
ATX.
All right, yeah. That's cool. Yes, people do need to know.
Yeah. So we'll get and we're doing stuff. We're putting stuff on there daily. Just us making pasta and just as fresh as we possibly can get everything. I mean, local ingredients. I mean, we're all local. So,
do you have any like vendors that you specifically really like working with?
Man, everybody's been really good to us.
Everybody.
It hasn't been. There hasn't been anything, and we were really unsure in the beginning because we didn't really know what the food truck business was like.
Yeah.
And I think we went into this thing thinking like, hey man, we'll just go to Restaurant Depot for everything. And we do that a lot, but it's more of just trying to get local, just as local as we can get it and and just make everything in the truck. And that's the whole game with it. So
sure. So coming from San Antonio, that was, you most recently lived in San Antonio.
Yeah.
When you guys were kind of scoping out areas and all that stuff, what did you think about Austin before you actually lived here?
I hadn't even been to Austin in so long. I mean, we had looked at some spots to open a restaurant.
Yeah. And that was the first time you were really here.
Yeah. I mean, my brother had been living here. He was, he works at Dough Pizzeria in San Antonio, which is pretty famous now.
Okay.
They have two of those. He just opened downtown. Then he was at the JW Marriott, and they were about to build the JW here in Austin. So that's actually what brought him to Austin. Was they moved him here, and he's young, single, no kids, and he just said, "Man, I want to open a restaurant in Austin." And I said, "Let's do it." So
how long was he at the JW for?
I mean, he was at the JW for a while.
Until the trailer?
No. He
Okay.
he was at the airport, working at some of the bars out there.
All right.
And then then he worked at Ginos for a couple weeks with me over there. And before the trailer got opened, and he needed a crash course and a little refresher and some things. So, sure. My brother's been fantastic. I mean, this guy, he hadn't worked in the kitchen in a long time. And, he grew up in a kitchen. I mean, that was his thing. I mean, he was not until he got smart and said, I think I want to wait tables, and he started waiting tables when he was like 16. My mom would have to literally follow him with all his alcoholic beverages because he couldn't serve them.
Sure.
So he did front of house for a long time. And
it's a good quality.
And he doing this, he said, I don't care what we do. This is the goal. This is the plan that we have. What are we going to do to get to this goal? And he said, if I got to be in a food truck, I'll be in a food truck. He was like, I don't care. He was like, and what I don't know how to cook, I'll learn real fast. And he's done fantastic. I mean, he's that's a small area to be in with two. We all have big personalities, but
sure.
My dad has the biggest, and it's that's a small area to be in, and it's hot in there. So,
well, did he sort of convince you to come down here and?
Yeah, I mean, we use Gaddy's kind of.
Gaddy's.
Well, Gaddy's was a stepping stone. We
Sure.
knew what our end game wanted to look like. And we haven't gone there quite yet. I mean, brick and mortar, of course, is where we're headed.
I was going to ask goals, but, I figured brick and mortar, something like that. Because you say, he's like, if this is what we got to do, then this is what we'll do.
In San Antonio, we're pretty established. When we had 3 restaurants, and people really knew us there. But when you come into Austin, and I mean, you can't compare. I mean, other than like the Pearl, San Antonio to Austin. I mean, Austin's just it's huge. It's food in Austin is amazing. And
It's interesting because when I do go to San Antonio, I guess it's just because it's a different place. I'm always like, this is wonderful. The
San Antonio's
Pearl's
grown.
nice.
Like San Antonio in 2008 when we opened Gianni's, it was not a foodie town yet.
Yeah.
You had guys like Johnny Hernandez. You've Andrew Weissman. I mean, these guys are amazing chefs. I mean, Jason Dady, who just opened a restaurant here in Austin. But you have these guys that they own. I think Andrew's up to, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 restaurants now. Johnny's got 4, 5 maybe. Andrew's got who knows how many. I mean, he's got everything. He's got barbecue, Italian, catering. I mean, it's just the whole 9 yards. But those were the major players there, and that was it. And they revamp, and open the Pearl, and all of a sudden you have, Culinary Institute of America there. So you've got CIA there, and you've got all these amazing students graduating from the CIA in San Antonio that are local, and they start open restaurants, or start working for one of those guys.
Thank you for filling in that puzzle now, because now that makes sense because it's true.
Yeah, I mean, you go to the Pearl and you're like, holy crap! Like
Pearl's very cool.
These restaurants are amazing. I mean, Southerly. I mean, Cured is probably my favorite restaurant in the world. I mean, it's just
can't go in there without taking a picture.
Oh yeah, I mean everything's just historical and
They've
just
got this
beautiful.
Old meat slicer. I don't know if you've seen that.
Yeah. It's an old Berkeley, right? I think
We're asked to sharpen that.
Oh, really?
It's a 2-man job. It was dangerously and crazy.
Oh, I'm sure.
Dangerously, I was going to say it was totally insane, but
crazy. Yeah,
but I thought it was more of an aesthetic thing. But
no, I didn't know that.
It took 2 trips. 2 trips.
Yeah, that's got to be.
But it's a beautiful place. But no, that sort of makes sense. Thank you for filling in the puzzle there.
Yeah, San Antonio, it's grown. It's getting bigger. It's getting better.
And what do you miss it ever?
We're just South Austin's busy.
I was going to say, do you like Austin?
Yeah, we like it. We're probably going to make a move to the north side.
Okay, because South Austin is very busy.
It's very busy, and which we like it. I mean, we like it's pretty accessible to everything. We just, with us right now, I mean, going to Round Rock and
that's brutal.
So we just want to be a little closer.
When you say you're accessible to everything, I guess I always ask this disclaimer. Where do you go eat? Where's your spot?
Man, I mean, we like at one of our favorite restaurants. Probably going to be Lucy's. Yeah, we love Lucy's.
So like South
man.
Congress or
yeah.
That's closest.
Yeah, so we eat over there and get some fried chicken, hang out. Like I said earlier, we've got really great we have really good parents. So like our 4-year-old Gage, He's at one of the grandparents every weekend. It just kind of worked our schedule out that way because Fridays and Saturdays and Sundays are pretty busy, crazy days in the restaurant industry.
Sure.
So those are kind of our date nights, and we'll go to Lucy's on a Friday night after we just got murdered and just been in the weeds for the last 3 hours.
Yeah,
and,
that's a great way to go.
Just go over there, hang out outside, and just eat some fried chicken. They've got those deviled eggs over there that are fantastic, and just hang out. Have you ever
talked to Chef Si's back there or
no, haven't. No.
Oh well. I gotta introduce you to him.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
He's a cool guy. His sister is also she's a chef as
well.
Yeah, and she's great too.
Yeah, we haven't man, we haven't been to a whole lot of places.
Oh come on. Something else. Give me something else.
I mean like Magnolia Cafe. I mean I just took my mom over there the other day, just something so she can try it out. She's super conservative with food. She used to.
It's tricky to take her out.
Oh yeah, I mean, she used to tell us stories about when they lived in Metuchen, New Jersey, and my grandfather would take them to the city, and they'd eat at these. I mean, he was a big foodie, and they would take them to these beautiful Chinese restaurants in New York City, and she would have a peanut butter and jelly in a brown bag that my grandmother used to pack for her.
Oh wow!
So She opens up to a little bit. She likes a lot of Italian, so that's good. But
That is good, yeah.
But yeah, so she's always a little hard to make food for, or or just take her places. So she's perfectly happy with we could take her to like a Willie's Ice House or something, and she'll get a burger. And
you need to peruse the podcast and skip to where people are suggesting places.
I will. I will.
For date night.
Yeah.
Instead of Lucy's, there's some other spots
Yeah?
you could go to. No offense, Si, but he's been there.
We've been there a bunch of times, actually.
Well, there you go.
So,
but fried chicken is, excellent. We were actually talking about fried chicken in Austin. That like we were kind of naming where's the go-to spot. Somebody named a place called Tumble 22 today.
Never heard of it.
I've not heard of it either. But
we'll check it out.
There's Gus's downtown.
Mm-hmm. I've heard of that.
Lucy's, Fly Right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm probably missing a bunch of. I think somebody suggested Fix. This really nice place downtown, but they actually have really good fried chicken. But it's like you're going to spend a lot of money for that fried chicken.
Yeah.
But and what about at home?
At home, Molly, she always tells me I don't cook enough. Well, she's probably right. She's.
You ever tell her that's what you do all day?
No, not at all. No, I cook. I cook sometimes. We'll make, we have like a little extruder. So me and Gage were, we were like extruding pasta one day out on the balcony, and we made some fresh pasta, and just at home. It's pretty basic. Molly does cook. She can pretty much cook anything. That lady, man, it just I brought her
home to some meals now.
Yeah, I brought her. We both started working at Gino's at the same time. She had made some pasta with me in the past, but nothing. She'd never like professionally ever worked in a kitchen before, And I said, hey, these are the recipes. We made all the pasta by hand because I have this weird thing about mixing pasta. I just for some reason I have to do it by hand, and it just. I don't know. I'm weird like that.
Just a thing.
And we do it in the truck too, and I do it at Gino's. I don't know why. I never grew up like putting, all of my ingredients in a mixer. It just wasn't. I don't know. I'm weird like that. But so I showed her how to do it. She made her own pasta, and and she starts making this beautiful pasta, and Gino would come in and he'd say, "Man, I've never seen anybody make pasta like this. You must have been making pasta your whole life." She's like, no, I'm like 2 weeks in, like her just raviolis were just perfect. They are perfect. They're just tortellinis.
And she does it by hand too, as well.
By hand, yeah.
Well, I'm guessing that's more something you really enjoy. You think it's some weird reason, but it's.
Yeah, well, we do.
Yeah.
She's always cooking. She's got some chicken and rice for me tonight. I think she texted me that earlier. And
beautiful.
So
I was going to say that must be. Well, I did say she's at home.
Yeah, she's at home now. So, but even before she was still.
Yeah,
she's still making food all the time. So
that's great. Does the little guy, does he do well with adventurous? I know he's young.
he's pretty picky right now. But it's a weird picky though.
Always picky.
He has been always pretty picky,
okay.
But
I think it goes, if they're picky to start with, then they open up and try everything. But if they will eat everything and snatch everything up, then eventually they're going to get picky.
Yeah, I agree with that actually, because that's how my brother was. He was there's something green on his plate, he'd freak out, and and he was like that even until I think he moved to Austin.
My brother used to open up the package of the Quaker oatmeal, like with the brown sugar, and like. Just eat it raw out of the
awesome,
and then just spoonfuls of raw sugar.
Oh yeah, nice,
very
nice,
very, very healthy.
Diet. Yeah, Gage, Gage is he's full of energy, and he does eat. He eats a lot right now. He's about to go through a growth spurt, but
yeah,
he likes his chicken nuggets. He likes fish sticks. Just hot dog. Just don't cut it in half because he'll freak out.
Sure. Ruins everything.
Yeah, we got him a Sam's hot dog one day, and it's a huge hot dog for a 3-year-old. He'll eat the whole thing eventually. And we cut it in half for him, and it was Meltdown City. So he, just little things like that. But he eats pretty much. We make sure that he has something. Mac and cheese, man. We just
Yeah, no.
he likes all mac and cheese. It doesn't matter. I can
That's
make
good,
it.
at least, yeah.
So we can make him some good mac and cheese at least, and grilled cheeses. Just stuff like that. So
For sure. You bringing that bread home for that?
sometimes,
Yeah.
sometimes,
That could be cool.
yeah.
Could be
We
good.
just the bread, man. The bread at Gino's. I will have to say we've been working on it, nonstop, just from creating our own strands to, just starters and just those guys, Alethea and Chris, my sous chef, and
How's
Jason.
Chef Chris?
Yeah, so Chris has helped me out. I mean, tons. He's very, he's really creative, and he's kind of the guy that's been pushing me to do some new things at Gino's. I'll come up with something, and he'll be like, "Man, we should pickle," whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Okay, cool, man, let's do it." Or we're talking about curing our own meats. That's the last thing we got, and so it's like, "Hey, let's do a duck prosciutto." I'm like, "Yeah, man, sounds fantastic. Let's do that."
Yeah.
So Chris is learning a lot. He's doing really well, and
I like him a
Alethea,
lot. Yeah. He's a good guy.
he's a great guy, and he's I just found out he lives on like a big farm. I had no idea. Like
Neither I know.
he's not a city guy at all. He lives on a big farm in Granger, and
Sure.
like had no idea. So
Oh, I could kind of tell from talking to him.
yeah, a little bit.
A little bit. Now it sort of makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah. Oh yeah, he's a good guy. And when I think it was Chef Pete was over there for a little while.
Yeah.
And when I know those guys are close, and sometimes in the industry when guys are close, somebody leaves, they both leave, and I was really happy to see him stick around. And
Yeah, I mean, I just
I knew he would too when he was describing Ginos.
when I came on, I kind of sat him down and was like, "Hey, I don't know what our day-to-day here has been like, but these are the goals I want to accomplish. I want to change our polenta, something so simple, yet I just didn't feel like our polenta was creamy enough, just something that was in my mind. I was just like, nah, I don't like this polenta. We're going to change it. We're going to figure out how we can change this
Kind
polenta.
of focused on simple things.
Yeah, and something as simple as polenta, and Chris was he was down with it, and I said, okay, we're going to get along,
Yeah.
and he was like, hey, I mean, we could do, maybe we should put more cream in it. Maybe we should do this. Maybe we should do that. And I said, well, let's do it. It was the same with the lunch menu. Gino said, hey, let's change the lunch menu up. And I said, cool. Chris and I will work on it. And I said, Chris, I'm gonna put this task on you for some sandwiches. I said, what do you think? And I said, I want to do a steak sandwich that people are gonna come in and be like, man, this is the best damn steak sandwich I've ever had. At Ginos. And so I gave him the task, and he knocked it out of the park. I mean, he just, we tried some different steaks, some different cuts, whatever. I let him have full control over it.
Yeah.
And he did a fantastic job.
Well, good.
So same with the au jus, and
You guys should get out one of these days and go to Uncle Nicky's on Duval.
okay.
It's a newer place, but Italian. Juniper is Chef Nick, and they opened this Uncle Nicky's.
Nice.
And I had it today.
Really?
But I had a sandwich there, and they have a bunch of sandwiches in the display. But you guys could do like a little, I don't know, a stealth, mission and try something else in the town. And
Yeah, we got to get out a little bit.
you do. You should go over there. I think it would be cool, especially with the new lunch menu.
Yeah.
You guys should make a day of that.
Yeah, we'll have to throw it out there to Gino, see what he says. Gino would love to. It's one thing. Gino loves food.
Yeah,
So-
bring him.
What I've noticed about Gino is that I can make anything, and instead of just telling him like, hey, I think this weekend for special we're gonna put, whatever. I have some clams. We're gonna do mussels and clams, or arrabbiata, or whatever. And instead of even just mentioning it to him now, I just make it and put it in front of him. We put bratas on the menu, and I was pulling fresh mozz, and I said, man, I haven't made a burrata in 10 years. Like, why not put burratas on the menu? And he was like, maybe. And the next time I was pulling fresh mods, a couple days later, I just made one. Here you go, man. Try it out. He was like, oh, this is beautiful. It's going on the menu. And I said, okay, cool. He's like, I'm going to put it on the menu this weekend. He's
a visual learner, right?
Absolutely. And he literally, we just make stuff and here you go, Gino, what's up? And he's always, he'll give us feedback on it, and it's always honest, which I love because it's, we're all like that. We need honest feedback, and, it's not just like, yeah, chef, that's good, but he'll tell me like, yeah, man, I don't know, why don't we try this or, and I'm completely down for that. So
I think I had mentioned to you, Rob Balin, the diningwithrob.com.
Yeah.
With the new lunch menu. I hope he gets in there for some lunch.
Yes, he came to eat. I think he came before he got there.
Right.
Then he came once for, he was meeting with Mike and Gino one day. He ate some lunch over there, like just some calamari he took home or something like that. So, yeah, no, we need to get him in there.
For sure. That would be cool to read about.
Yeah, I like the new menu. It's nice.
Yeah, no, it's exciting. I don't know. Who knows? I'll be over there in a couple weeks soon.
Yeah, probably pretty soon.
Yeah. So, anything important that you want to touch on? Like, any charities we started this talking about your grandfather, which is important. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think, I just want to definitely dedicate, this podcast in particular, this episode to him.
Sure.
He was the rock. That guy's he was the strongest man I've ever known.
And look at that circle there. Your daughter's right about to come into this world.
Absolutely.
And it's a shame he couldn't, meet her, but how cool though. Just keep working, no funeral.
Yeah, he didn't really want, he just didn't really want us to do anything. He told my uncle.
Well, it's probably ingrained in him that it's expensive and.
Yeah, he would just rather us, do, it's always a little weird, because we, I always think about, Molly and I just had this discussion about, I told her, I said, if I ever got sick, I didn't.
Hard talks.
Yeah, whatever. And, with my grandfather, this guy, in 1994, he had a triple bypass. They told him that he'd live 10 years. Here we are, 2019.
Yeah.
And I can specifically remember after my grandmother passing away, that was only 5 years ago. And we went to he wanted to get her a statue for the garden, this big, just statue of an angel. This thing probably weighed 400 pounds. So we're putting it in his truck in the Bronx. And my uncle's got a little SUV, a little Suzuki. And we're putting this freaking huge statue into me and these 3 guys that work there. And, and I'm a pretty strong guy. And I'm holding it up. And, man, we just couldn't get it in there. And this old man just said, get out of the way. And he only speaks Italian, by the way.
Oh, really?
Never really learn English. He didn't have to live in the Italian Bronx for 40 years. But he just literally pushed this whole statue into the back of this SUV. And we're just like, man, what in the, it just.
Yeah, mule, right?
Yeah, literally before he got sick, he was only sick for a very short period of time.
Yeah, that's good.
He was actually breaking concrete in a closet in his house for some crazy reason, not sure why, on his knees with a sledgehammer.
Oh, man.
Like literally a week before he got sick. Just crazy. Like this guy.
That work ethic.
Just never stopped, ever.
That made a tribute to the, 94, triple bypass. You got 10 years and he keeps trucking.
He quit smoking. That was the deal, like he
was smoking up.
Oh, yeah, they all.
Yeah.
New York Italians, man.
Helps.
He quit smoking. He started eating right, started exercising, and he lived another, 20 years. It's crazy. 5 years.
There's always watching the older generation, especially, it's something that we're losing a little bit. The kind of the hard working, the work ethic, and
Yeah, I mean that's that's one thing that my dad really did instill into us.
good.
My sister who just had twins, but she worked. She's an interior designer. I mean, she worked the whole time she was pregnant. I mean, just never imagined not working. My youngest brother, Frankie, he's he's in he does web development and coding and all kinds of stuff in San Antonio, and he grew up in the restaurant with us too.
Yeah,
And the dude works super hard, and
that's
just that's how it is.
now you have to pass that on.
Absolutely.
Which is, I think it's a little trickier these days.
Yeah, I think it is.
With modern, conveniences, everything's at our fingertips, which makes you got to work for this stuff a little difficult.
That's very true.
Yeah,
But I mean, being in the kitchen and Gage likes it. He likes being in there.
Oh,
And he's
yeah,
always,
I'm sure.
So it's one of those things as we're growing, and one day if we do decide to open up a brick and mortar, whatever, they'll be back there hanging out with us, and
definitely. If they always look at that as a fun thing,
Yeah.
and not, my dad is always slaving away,
yeah, and it can always change. I mean, that's that's one of the things that
you'll support whatever they want,
Yeah, absolutely. But we, growing up in the restaurant, it was just like one of those things that we, I did not want to be in the restaurant industry,
Right.
And it just happened to be that's my passion, and
What about the tattoos? Did you just
man,
drop
I haven't done a tattoo since 2000.
You did get into it though.
Yeah. So I tattooed for a couple years.
Okay.
So a really good friend of mine had 2 studios in Dallas. We ended up. It was kind of a crazy situation. So we closed the 2 studios in Dallas. And we moved to Lawton, Oklahoma. So in 2007, Oklahoma was the last state to legalize tattooing. Crazy to think about. So up until 2007, you couldn't get a tattoo in a tattoo studio in Oklahoma. So you'd have to go to Wichita Falls or
That's crazy.
wherever. So 2007 hits, and all of a sudden, Oklahoma's like the tattoo gold rush. So we packed up our stuff, and we moved to Lawton, Oklahoma. Had never been there. Mike was, he did basic training there when he was in the military. That was the only thing we knew about it. That was it. So we moved up there, and we opened a studio, and we had that for a while.
Tattoo. What'd you name the studio?
So that studio was Saints and Sinners.
Okay.
And then in Dallas, the studio was Precision Images.
Okay.
Yeah. But when I left there, I mean, I moved from Lawton to San Antonio directly.
We are looking for an in-house tattoo artist
Yeah.
to do during these podcasts.
Man, I don't think it would look very good these days. I don't know. Mike's really good though.
Especially not after a day at work, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely not.
You'll be falling
Definitely
asleep.
not.
Oh, sorry
Yeah.
about that.
Not to mention holding a machine sounds absolutely terrible after a long shift of saute pans. And,
Oh yeah, definitely. A little precision.
oh yeah. My line work would look absolutely terrible. So
Right. We're going for bold lettering, and that's all.
yeah, that's it. That's it.
Well, that's cool. That's cool though. But thank you for coming in here. You'll have to come back in with your brother and your father.
We're gonna get them. So the hard part is
I got you.
it's just getting them in here.
Oh, I'm sure.
So we'll have to just not open a night or something for a couple hours.
You could do, or close up early one day.
I told him. I told him today. I said, "Why don't you just turn that Uber Eats off for an hour and a half, and just come up here?"
Yeah.
And he was like, "Nah, man, I can't do it. We just
What
have
time
to
do they get out of there?
It just depends. So I think we're scheduled to be open noon to 10,
10. 7
days a week.
I at a certain point in time become completely useless, but we've done some pretty late night
Yeah?
podcasts here.
We can do it. Tony, we would like that. He'd be pretty excited about
they're
them.
that dedicated that they will not close up.
Yeah, that's we there's been some trucks in that lot that
come and gone.
Yeah, that have come and gone already. We've only been there 5 weeks.
Yeah.
And one of the things was when we met with Dan the first time to sign our lease, he said, if you want to be successful in this business, you have to open.
Sure.
And I said, don't worry about it. We're going to open 7 days a week. And he said, well, I don't think any of us open 7 days a week. And I said, well, we're going to.
All right.
So don't worry about it. And we'll be open every single day.
Yeah.
And, that's just to get established and, to get where we want to be. That's what we have to do.
Yeah. If you guys do some, looking at the numbers and the days and you guys pick a day maybe to be closed, we can do it on that day or, after they close up or something one day. But, they can come over. You guys get some, family banter going on and then go throw some Austin All Day stickers out to people and then they can listen and they'll get to know the crew.
No, that'd be, we'll be down for that. My dad would definitely be down for that.
I'm sure that would be great to have him in.
We were talking about it yesterday and he said, so what are you doing tomorrow? And I said, I'm doing a podcast. He said,
no idea, right?
No idea. He said, well, what are you going to talk about? And I said, I'm going to talk about everything.
Yeah.
And he said,
anything and everything.
He said, well, I can talk about a lot of stuff. And I was
Sure
like,
you can.
Sure you can. Let's do it. So.
No, it's, I've done a lot of explaining as to what a podcast is.
Yeah.
Even to our generation. But yeah, I'm sure he'd get a kick out of it. Especially, if they get some wine out for him.
Yeah, he would greatly enjoy that. He'd be spending the night at one of our houses, I'm sure.
Well,
I don't think he'd be.
We've got a bedroom there.
Yeah, he wouldn't be driving back to New Braunfels at all that night.
Oh yeah, you gotta take that. And he could crash here and go back to work in the morning.
Yeah, that's exactly. I told him it's the next restaurant we open, so we'll build you a little apartment back there.
Right.
I said you can have your thing and you can work 3 days a week, and then take the rest of the time off, and eventually
that would be cool.
Eventually the food truck for him is going to be semi-retirement. I mean, that's the goal. That was the goal for him, was to get him out of a full-time restaurant gig and then also, work with us to get to our goal, and get him to semi-retire. I don't think he could ever fully retire. He might say that he could, but there's no way after all these years.
Yeah, I think you have to be. They decide that. That I'm ready to slow down a little bit.
Yeah, and he's he's getting to that point, and
I'm sure he'll let you know.
Oh yeah, he will let us know for sure.
Yeah, probably don't ever bring it up, right?
No, we joke about it sometimes.
Yeah, definitely if it's just a joke.
We told him. I think it was last week sometime. We told him. I don't remember what it was. I think we told him something about him taking a vacation. We're 5 weeks in. So I think it's time for you to have a vacation. He was like, oh, not a problem. I'll take a month, I don't think you could do that physically, mentally. I said, I think you could take about 3 days, because he's never been back to Italy. At some point in time, I kept telling him all these years, I said, one day we're gonna send you back to Italy for a little while, hang out. We still have the farm that he grew up on is still in our family.
Wow.
We have a great uncle that is on that farm now and has electricity and has power and water and everything it didn't have back then. And
man, so cool.
And so I told him, I said, before it's too late, dude, we'll get you over there just to hang out. And he insists he had a goat named Pepito that's still there, and I don't think he's still there after 50 years or 40 years, but
it may
whatever.
Be mixed up in another goat, right?
Yeah, exactly. So
you gonna get him to go?
I mean, eventually, one day once we get,
if you do, he might go, oh yeah, I am ready. Especially if he does it there.
We told him that he said I'll go back to Italy. He said, but I think it'll be kind of like the last scene in The Godfather. And I said, oh yeah, where he's in Italy and just falls over. And he said, I think that's probably how we do it. I said, well, let's not do that anytime soon then.
Right, yeah, definitely. Well, good. Thank you for coming out here.
I appreciate you having me.
I'm glad you're in South Austin.
Yeah.
not having to go back out to Round Rock. But yeah, again, I appreciate it. Anytime you want to come back, especially with the guys, come.
Yeah, we'll definitely set it up. I appreciate you having me out.
Yeah, definitely. This, this will go up, and shortly after that, your daughter will be born.
That's right.
But I'll touch base with you, and we'll get you guys back on here.
Awesome.
All right. Thanks,
awesome.
Chef.
Thank you.